Hi everybody. Today we're going to do a craft using these filigree earrings templates. Now what I haven't glued this yet, but things you will need for this project are the filigree templates that I've shown in many videos, and I'm trying to get it all in. There's a various different shapes and sizes, and if you haven't seen my other videos, check out my DIY crafts playlist and you'll see all of my templates in there where I show you different ones and what you can use them for. The next thing is I grabbed this shape. So I have various different shapes, and the last time I did the other earring shape, so I got this shape. And so you're going to need these, and then you're going to need some jewelry working tools. You're going to need some of these acrylic gemstones. You glue them on. They are in various different sizes. They're all round, but they come in various different sizes and various different colors. And I've got my new tube of unsquished E6000 glue. I use a lot of it, so I got a big one. And you're going to need some toothpicks. I would grab 2 of them, and that's going to help you. You're going to need a paper towel to wipe the glue and some tweezers, preferably these, and you can find a cheap set with different long ones for jewelry making, but they have them anywhere. You can find these at craft store, dollar store, Walmart, online, anywhere you can find a bunch of cheap sets of these long tweezers. Another thing is these seed beads. Now I got the filigree templates online off of Amazon, and I will put the link below this video so that if you want to go check it out, it's from a shop called Panda Hall on Amazon. Also, these acrylic gemstones I got from Hobby Lobby. Now they do have ones with different shapes and sizes as well, and these are just the round ones because I didn't have enough in my different shape ones that I have of red. I used those all. These are the long seed beads, as you can see here, and I got these and they're in red, and you're going to also need your findings, such as head pins, which look like this. Now I have brass, so all these templates are in the color brass. Some are lighter toned and some are darker toned. Now you could use gold findings, and if you don't know what findings are and you're new at jewelry making, findings are things like head pins, jump rings, and other things you need to create your earrings, or to create your jewelry rather. So I got these in brass color, and I also got jump rings in brass color as well. So clasps. So I got little jump rings, and then I got the 6mm jump rings as well. So these are the 6mm ones, and these are 4mm, because you need different sizes, because I'm going to use the smaller size for this. And over here you can't see it, but it's my magnifying light, which really helps when you're doing fine intricate jewelry and your jump rings. I also got the brass colored clasp, which is also considered findings. Now they're not too small, but they're not too big. They're 14mm lobster claws. So if you do get it in the brass, then you want to make sure, like I said, that your findings are a similar color. Now, if you get them in copper, then make sure your findings are in copper or silver. Now, I have plenty of silver, gold only a little bit because I don't really like gold, but I don't mind the brass because it's a combination of different colors that create this brass, and I like that some are lighter and darker tone. So now that I got all my findings out, I got all these at Hobby Lobby. And I also got my brass chain at Hobby Lobby. I haven't even opened it yet. And this is from Metal Gallery. And it's about $14.99 for a roll of chain. You get 6 yards. It's 5.5. It's 216 inches. Okay. And you can see that. And it's in a brass color, so it'll match. Now these aren't going to, I'm not going to use the chain today for these because these are earrings. But in the future, I will be using this chain to make another necklace or some earrings that are hanging. Because I do have another template where I might use this for. But it's good to have all the same color findings when you're working with a particular template or what. This way you can just go ahead and craft and not say, uh-oh, I don't have that. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is place everything and see if that's what you like. Also, I almost forgot, I got earring hooks also in brass because I only had silver and a few gold. Everything is going to be uniform and everything's going to match. And maybe if you're making it for yourself, you don't care, but if you're making it to give as a gift or to sell, you want to make sure it looks professional. So you have to have everything matching. Otherwise, it's not going to look that professional. It's just going to look like you took odds and ends and just plop them together. And you can get away with it if it's a boho piece of jewelry, but not everybody likes that, and not everybody wants mix and match colors. They want it more uniform, especially if you're selling them. So now that I've got all my findings, and all my supplies, what I'm going to show you is this pair that I'm going to create today. So I have my template. Now some of the templates, now it's soft and flexible, and I said this on my other videos, so if you haven't seen them, please go to my DIY playlist. It's my second playlist on my channel, and I have a bunch of different filigree tutorials that I just recently uploaded. So you'll want to check that out. And in this, some of them are a little bent out of shape, but you can easily work them, get them warm with your fingers, get them warm with your body heat, and just simply and gently put them back into shape. In case you find that like that, because these are flexible, but not totally bendable. So don't worry, once you make it, they're not going to be all squished. But if you're making them to sell or give as a gift and you're going to package them and mail them out, you want to make sure they're in a nice, well-packaged, hard package so they don't get smushed. But they are flexible so you can work with them. So that's what I like about these. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, before I glue these, I picked out my gemstones. Because as you see, I'm going to use this as my pointer. We have a spot here we can glue something to, and over here. Now you don't have to. You can leave that like that and just hang things off the bottom. But I prefer to do it that way. So what you want to do is position them and see how you like them and how that looks and what you want. So I picked out a small one and a slightly bigger one for over here. Now I do have an even larger one, but I don't want that because I want it so it looks like it's part of the design. See how you have that around there? And if I put the bigger one, it's going to cover the majority of it. So I really like this size. Now these seed beads are slightly, and I'm going to try to hold them, these seed beads are slightly a little darker than the other ones, but not by much. I don't know if you're getting that, but they're still nice and they're red. And actually, my husband's the one who found these, and so if he didn't point these out, I wouldn't have had them, so I'm glad he did. And what I'm going to do is I'll probably use my head pins because it's the only, I don't have any wire, but if you do work with it, you might want to get some brass colored wire or darker wire as well. But I got these head pins, and I'll just cut a few, but I'll utilize it. And I'm going to run, now they have shorter ones, which I should have picked up the shorter package, but I was trying to think of what I needed. So now I might So what you want to do is see how everything's going to be situated before you affix it to your item. So before I glue or hang anything, I want to see what I'm going to do as my design. And before I glue anything, I'd rather use the things that I'm hooking up with a jump ring rather than gluing and then handling things and then they're going to slide, because as we all know with glue, you need to let it set. Now E6000 jewelry glue is the best. It dries clear and it's really good strength for it. And the best thing is you need to make sure that you let it dry for 24 hours. Now, what I like about the E6000 jewelry glue, and I said it many times before in my videos, that it gives you a little time to play with and move things around in case you didn't like where you positioned it, and then you can wipe it clean. Or if you saw that it was crooked, you're like, oh no, well, you just move it up. And the best thing is that it takes a while to set. In about 20-30 minutes it starts to set, but you still can play with it. But for complete and total making sure that it's completely cured and dry and set, wait 24 hours from the time that you created it and glued it, and this way you'll know that it's ready to go, especially if you're making it to sell or give as a gift, because you don't want these pieces falling off. You want to make sure it's good and sturdy. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm thinking of doing this. I was going to do a teardrop, but I only have 2 red beads that I could have put one on each bottom and then these around, but I think these will look nice, maybe like that, then here, and a few like that. So let's get started. So now I'm going to move all my pieces away because they're going to be glued, okay? And I'm going to make sure before I do anything that these are good, because this was kind of bent up and I want them to sit the same way. Now they do have a back and a front. This is the back, that's the front. So if you can see the difference, the back is here and the front is here. So you want to make sure when you go to glue, you make sure what the back and the front is. And now when you glue a piece to the front, if you don't want to see the metal backing on the back, it's hard to pick these up with bare fingers. See? If you don't want to see that shining through, you can go ahead and glue one of these to both sides to hide that. Okay? But it's just for me. I'm not going to give it as a gift or to sell it, so I don't care, because most earrings have a back anyway. But if you want it to really look nice and clean and professional, that's the way you're going to do it. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start opening up my findings and I'll get right back to you and we'll start this project. Okay, so now I got my head pins. Now they do have shorter head pins, which I wish I purchased, but I didn't, so I got the longer one. These are from Hobby Lobby, and they're 3-inch, 76mm head pins, and they come 70 to a package, okay? And they're $3.99, and it's from something called the Jewelry Shop. So let's say you don't have a nice short one. You can buy really short ones of these head pins. Now the head pins look like this with the head of a pin, basically. Eye pins have the little circle around it so that you can hook things. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these seed beads and I'm going to put my head pin through it. And there, and it's not going anywhere. Now I have to cut and make a loop where then I'm going to affix my 4mm jump rings too. So what I'm going to do is I have to make sure that it's all the way down, and I have to take my cutters, but you don't want to make it too short. You are going to make a loop, but you don't want a huge loop because it's going to look ridiculous, because you don't want it to show up too much. So make sure that you took off enough and save the excess if you end up buying the longer ones, because you can always use them for any other project. So now you're going to take your round nose and you're going to make your loop. However you do it, it's going to get one, and I'm going to show you what the next step would be once you put these all through a head pin. Then you'll start with the first one, which would be on the bottom, and then you'll work your way around. So you get your chain nose and round nose, and I got my 4mm jump ring because you don't want the 6mm, so because it'll be too big. And that's it. That's my first one. Then I can go from here and see how far up I want to go. Okay? So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. First step, which was using my head pins and attaching with my jump rings the pieces of seed beads to the bottom. So I went with 9 all around, and I didn't do my other one yet. So for my next step is I'm going to look at them and see, do I want any more hanging? But I really like the way that looks. Later I can always hang more things if I decide to go further. But I like the 9 right now, just hanging. So what I want to do now is glue these two things and let them dry. And then once we can see what that looks like, we can go on to the next one. Like pieces. So you'll want to get your tweezers out because they're hard to pick up. You want to get your E6000 glue out. And I like to keep my E6000 glue in a cup so it stands up straight, because once you take the cap off, it tends to keep oozing out. And I'm going to hold it, and now don't worry if it's a little dirty on the front of the acrylic after you do this, because you can always go ahead and clean it once it's dry. And you just take a little bit on your toothpick, push down, and kind of hold it for a few seconds or a minute, and then make sure that it's exactly lined up the way you want, because like I said with the E6000 glue, it does give you some time to play with. Go to your spot and glue it. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's finished. I still have to do the other one, but you see I have the seed beads. Make sure everything's clean so you can get a nice look at everything. So I have the seed beads, and I have the gemstone, the acrylic gemstones all glued, and all I have to do is put the earring hook on. But I'm going to wait until the gemstones are totally done. Now I did the first one and the second one. So here they are. They're finished now. I have the nice seed beads dangling. And even though these have to dry for 24 hours to make sure the acrylic gemstones aren't going anywhere, they have set enough that I can move them around, and I had hooked up the earring hooks to it. So these hang really nicely, and I really like the way the seed beads kind of fringe it. And here we are. They're done. And there you have it, a nice pair of red earrings. They look very fancy. I really love the filigree templates. And don't forget to look below for that link for these filigree templates. And go ahead and make one yourself. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.